Ever stop to think about how your brain actually, changes when you learn something, like physically? We're getting into that today.
We are, and it really centers on this fascinating phrase you hear a lot in neuroscience. Neurons that fire together, wire together. It's the heart of Hebbian plasticity.
Right. Hebbian plasticity. We'll unpack that, what it is, the evidence, and why it matters so much.
Exactly.
Okay, so neurons that fire together, wire together, catchy. But what's actually happening in the brain?
Think of it like teamwork between brain cells, neurons. If two neurons are active around the same time repeatedly, the pathway, the connection between them, it gets stronger.
Stronger how? Like easier for them to talk to each other.
Precisely. It becomes easier for one neuron to trigger the next one in the chain. Imagine like forging a path through a forest. The more you use it, the clearer and easier it gets to travel.
Okay, that makes sense. But is this something scientists have actually, seen,
Where?
or is it still theoretical?
Oh, no, it's been observed. Researchers can stimulate specific neural pathways in experiments, and they see it if you activate connected neurons together simultaneously, the signal between them genuinely gets more efficient.
And it stays that way.
Yeah, it can last. That improved connection persists for a while, sometimes a long while.
And I've heard this ties into LTP, long-term potentiation. That's big for memory, right?
Absolutely. Hebbian learning is, you could say, a key mechanism behind LTP. That wiring together creates these durable changes in how strong the synapse is the connection point, and that's, fundamental for forming and keeping memories.
Wow. Okay, so what kinds of brain functions rely on this? It sounds pretty foundational.
It really is. Almost everything involving learning and memory. Think about learning a language, remembering someone's name, getting better at playing guitar, recognizing your friend's face across the street.
So skills, facts, recognition.
Yeah, and even how our senses work, how we process sights and sounds and adapt to changes in our environment, it's deeply involved.
But, okay, what if neurons don't fire together? You sometimes hear about anti-Hebbian learning, too. What's the deal with that?
Right, good point. That's sort of the opposite principle. If one neuron fires but the other one it's connected to doesn't, or if they consistently fire at very different times, that connection can actually weaken.
And that's useful, weakening connections.
Oh, definitely. It's crucial for refining our neural circuits. It helps us discriminate between things, prune away connections that aren't useful, and basically stop our brains from just linking everything to everything else. Keeps things efficient.
Which brings up another thought. If connections just keep getting stronger with activity, couldn't things spiral out of control? Like too much connection, too much activity.
Yeah, that's a real possibility the brain has to manage. And that's where inhibitory neurons play a massive role. They essentially act as the brakes in the system.
How so?
They dampen down activity. They help modulate this whole Hebbian strengthening process, making sure it doesn't lead to runaway excitation. They fine-tune the learning, ensuring only the relevant connections get significantly stronger. It's all about balance.
So this fire together, wire together rule.
Yeah.
Is it the whole story for learning? Or are there other things going on?
It's a huge part of the story, maybe the cornerstone. But, the brain is incredibly complex. It's likely not the only mechanism. There are probably other factors, other forms of plasticity involved that we're still figuring out. Research is always ongoing.
It's amazing how these biological ideas pop up elsewhere.
Yeah.
Has this Hebbian concept influenced, say, artificial intelligence?
Oh, absolutely. Big time. The core idea in many AI neural networks adjusting the strength or weight of connections between artificial neurons based on their correlated activity that's directly inspired by Hebbian principles.
Huh, interesting. Like teaching a computer in a brain-like way?
Kind of, yeah. It's fundamental to how some machine learning algorithms learn patterns in data, like for image recognition or understanding language.
You've mentioned neurons firing together or at the same time a few times. How precise does that timing need to be? Does it matter exactly when they fire?
It matters a lot, actually. There's a related concept called spike timing dependent plasticity, or STDP.
STDP.
Yeah, spike timing dependent plasticity. It shows that the order and the precise millisecond timing between one neuron firing and the next one firing determines whether the connection strengthens or weakens. It's incredibly sensitive to timing.
Wow, okay. Milliseconds matter. And finally, given how fundamental this seems, what happens if this process gets disrupted? Does it relate to any health issues?
There's definitely growing evidence linking problems with Hebbian plasticity, either too much strengthening, not enough, or issues with weakening to various neurological and psychiatric conditions.
So imbalances could cause real problems with brain function.
Exactly. When the mechanisms that sculpt our neural connections aren't working properly, it can contribute to disorders affecting learning, memory, mood, and more.
So wrapping up, this whole idea of neurons that fire together, wire together, isn't just a catchy phrase. Uh, it's a really core principle driving how our brains learn, adapt, remember,
Hmm.
basically how they become us.
It truly is. And it kind of leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? Considering all your unique experiences, all the things you've learned and done, just imagine the intricate, specific web of connections that have been shaped inside your own brain. It's quite personal, really.